Football coach described a good full day as one in which a person thinks, laughs, and cries. Tonight, while we're drawn together to celebrate the Port Jefferson High School class of 2018, I intend to ensure we all have a good full day. In the course of doing so, I'll be taking full advantage of my poetic license to manipulate, manufacture, and distort facts to suit the needs of the narrative and match the sentiment of my message. Also, I'll be making lighthearted yet still disrespectful remarks about people from New Jersey, people from Arkansas, Met fans, and Kardashians. While these targets are simply too easy for me to pass up, please know that I really do love them all, even the Met fans. Furthermore, I offer my sincere apologies in advance to anyone I may inadvertently offend, and assure you that any objectionable comments I make will have been said out of ignorance on my part and without malice. Finally, please understand that I will not be singling out teachers, coaches, administrators, neighbors, or friends who have been incredibly important to me and my family. To cite any would exclude too many others. To name all would be impractical. A few weeks ago, I was watching a Yankee game at home with my twin seniors, Jack and Joey. The phone rang and the high school's caller ID flashed across the television screen. I thought to myself, this sure is odd for the school to be calling when it's not 5 o'clock in the morning. Jack immediately went into hands up, don't shoot mode. I swear, Dad, I didn't do anything. Too bad. While glaring at Jack and bracing myself to hear what the not too bad thing this call was going to be about, I answered the phone. My mind was put at ease when the principal, Mrs. Austin, asked if I would like to speak at this year's graduation ceremony. As a former member of the Board of Education, my wife, Mary Beth, had the privilege of being on stage and passing out diplomas during our daughter Rachel's graduation ceremony in 2016. On that day, Mary Beth, always looking ahead, had locked down this year's parent representative speaking slot. Mrs. Austin was calling now to make good on their agreement by offering me the chance to fill in for Mary Beth. My mind raced back to that greatest of last days for Mary Beth. Her beauty as radiant as ever, her cancer-robbed stamina annoyingly forcing her to periodically take a seat, her smile as she handed the most precious girl in the world her diploma. Of course, at that moment we didn't know Mary Beth's 8-year battle with cancer would end 5 short months later. But we did know enough to especially savor that wonderful day. So I was both honored and thrilled to accept the offer to address you tonight. I asked Mrs. Austin for advice before hanging up the phone, and she told me not to talk for more than 7 or 8 minutes, not to try too hard to be funny, and not to try and ingratiate myself with the students by doing something silly like rapping. I thanked her for the wise counsel, said goodbye, looked up to Mary Beth, and said, honey, this is going to be a bit harder than I thought. Well, anyone who ever met Mary Beth knows just how she would respond to that. Joe, you need to honor your commitment, so get to work. In fact, her work ethic and commitment to excellence is just how we ended up leaving New Jersey to make Port Jefferson Village our home. The decision was actually made one afternoon while we were hanging out at a typical Jersey neighborhood barbecue. You know the kind, a summer mixtape consisting solely of Bruce Springsteen and Bon Jovi songs blared from a boombox. The kids roasting bologna over stacks of burning car tires. Me adhering to the strict Jersey dress code by wearing a sleeveless shirt. Mary Beth updated me on her search for a new community that was within commuting distance of Manhattan and would be a better fit to raise Joey, Jack, and Rachel. Over the course of several months, Mary Beth had methodically researched school districts in 6 counties. She downloaded all the publicly available data she could find, visited many schools, and spoke with countless administrators, teachers, and parents. That day at the barbecue, I knew where we would be moving when Mary Beth began her summary of Port Jefferson with, "There's this small charming village on the North Shore filled with doctors, lawyers, architects, scientists, bankers, professors, authors, artists, and sea captains." Maybe it wasn't the most ego-boosting thing for her telecom professional husband to hear, but I understood the point she was driving at. Surrounding our children with doers would help them grow up to be doers themselves. But before agreeing, I said to Mary Beth, "Port Jeff sounds wonderful for you and the kids, but what about me?" She paused and said, "Oh, you'll be fine. You love the Long Island diners, and there'll surely be some Met fans willing to be friends with you." As was generally the case, Mary Beth was right. In 13 years, I've put on 30 pounds, and my closest friends are hopelessly misguided and perennially tortured optimists. Also, just as Mary Beth envisioned, our kids have grown up to be productive young adults. I'll wager that Joey the Beast Collins is the only kid with Down syndrome in the country who had the opportunity to wrestle all 4 years of high school while participating in 8 drama productions. Even Mary Beth, though, couldn't have foreseen the indelible mark that would be made on our hearts by the people in this community we chose to join. The concerted, consistent, and comprehensive support of my family throughout Mary Beth's illness and beyond included tremendous sums of money, food, and caretaking. Such breathtaking generosity is extremely humbling to receive and a beautiful testament to the goodwill of the people in the audience tonight. In fact, a friend, knowing I was still paralyzed, called a little more than a year after Mary Beth passed away and offered to clear out her closet and donate her clothes. She enlisted some help, and to further emphasize the importance of me recognizing my new reality, even redecorated a bit. Afterwards, she let me know that they had finished clearing most everything out, but left behind some meaningful stuff. When I came home, I stood in front of that barren closet, just as I stand before you now, a broken man in search of meaning. On that day, I saw a PJ Nation sweatshirt, a 2016 prom volunteer t-shirt, and a pair of Port Jefferson tennis pajama bottoms. On this day, I see my son's teammates, castmates, and classmates. On that day, I found solace in staring at the clothes my mother-in-law and I dressed Mary Beth in the morning she left our home for the last time. On this day, I find motivation in looking at the Port Jefferson High School class of 2018. I treasure our association with this place, and you should always remember you're part of a great tradition larger than yourselves. During halftime of a football game last fall, I was very pleased to see the revival of new inductions to your school's Wall of Fame. Celebrating the courage, athletic prowess, business acumen, creativity, and service of graduates is an ideal way to inspire the next generation while tightening the bonds that hold communities together. Each and every one of you is capable of returning here someday to have your own picture added to that wall, and I urge you to make the effort. In the course of striving to reflect great credit on your alma mater, you will develop a sense of self and purpose that is the essence of a joyful life. When you do earn that spot, you can be assured that as lifetime Port Jeff High School football season ticket holders, Joey and I will be there to provide an extra loud cheer when you're introduced. Remember, graduating from high school does not mean freedom. You remain responsible to your family and the people who care about you. And thank God for that. Tonight, family and friends have come in from all over New York to celebrate with us. Plus, Joey and Jack's relatives have traveled from as far south as Metro DC in Florida, from as far west as Seattle, and from as far backwards as Arkansas. Now, I didn't take that shot at my oldest brother's adopted home state just to get a cheap laugh, but rather to illustrate the immutability of natural law. As everyone knows, the youngest can only poke fun at the oldest when he has sanctuary. Since Charlie didn't bring a cap and gown, he can't come up on stage and pound the living daylights out of me. Plus, with my 84-year-old mother in town, I have her skirt to hide behind later tonight. You'll discover for yourselves that these types of family dynamics don't change much with age, and thank God for that. Over your time, your circle will only widen. In the crowd tonight are friends of ours who went to high school and college with Mary Beth. There's no set time period or graduation date when the opinions of family and friends no longer matter. Even though they've passed to the great beyond, I strive to do right by my loving father and beloved wife. We remain connected in unexplainable ways to all those who are important to us. In fact, on this momentous occasion, as I stand on this stage with distinguished guests, holding this microphone, I can sense all my loved ones, past and present, imploring me not to start rapping. I did think it important, though, to make an effort to better understand today's popular culture in preparation for this speech. So I began carrying a notebook to quickly record my observations and insights. I filled up the first 20 pages with account details related to signing up for Netflix, Prime, Hulu, Roku, Spotify, Pandora, and Tidal. I'm genuinely impressed by your generation's ability to pound away on your phones, tablets, and computers for hours on end without ever being slowed down by usernames or passwords. While I can't even microwave a burrito without running into a code entry error. I do want to let you in on something that you don't know, though. Regardless of what you may think of Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez, or Ed Sheeran, you're all going to be grooving to their music when it's played at your 25-year reunion. Trust me. Finally, I think your generation is oddly obsessed with horror movies and monsters. I suppose it's harmless as long as it's taken with a pinch of salt. Be sure to remember that those frightening characters are created using sophisticated visual effects software, prosthetics, and makeup. You could travel the world 10 times over, and I promise you'll never run across anything even slightly resembling the zombies, vampires, or Kardashians you're watching in those horror shows. Lots and lots of makeup. After asking Rachel for advice on this speech, she said what most teenage girls would tell their fathers before speaking in front of their hometown. Dad, everyone would think you're so cool if you showed them what a great rapper you are. No, of course she didn't say anything as obvious as that. Instead, she made a very insightful and striking point by saying, Dad, everyone's not like you. So don't just go on and on talking about stupid football. Interesting. Everyone's not exactly like me. I guess we all can't be overweight, balding, middle-aged men harboring grandiose delusions of a past chock full of gridiron glory. So, in deference to this fascinating point, I removed the 36 paragraphs I had written analyzing every football game played these last 4 seasons. I would be remiss, though, if I failed to take advantage of this opportunity to deliver one short, crucial message to the various peoples living throughout the 631 area code. Let those navigating the shores of the mighty Wading River and those sailing the treacherous waters of the Hampton Bays hear this truth. Let these words ring loud and clear from the low-slung banks of Babylon to the soaring heights of Mount Sinai. Let not the settlers, porters, or tuckers roaming the verdant North Fork, nor the grim-faced stone-turners toiling away in Miller Place ever doubt this one simple fact. Port Jeff High School football rules! I just noticed Dr. Castellano signaled security, so I better start wrapping this up before I'm hauled out of here like some junior's illegally parked 20-year-old Chevy Malibu. Before I leave, though, I would again like to thank Mrs. Austin for her gracious invitation. It boggles my mind to consider that Port Jefferson High School was established in 1894, and that tonight I've just become its luckiest and most grateful guest speaker. You're all invited to drop by 743 Pine Tree Court to celebrate more with us tonight. I guarantee either my kids will greet you by name or my sister Anna will give you the warmest and most welcoming hug you've ever received. Finally, I would like to conclude by sharing with you the wisdom contained in the classic poem, Feel This Moment, written by Armando Christian Perez, an artist you may know better as the rapper, Mr. Worldwide himself, Pitbull. I see the future, but live for the moment. Makes sense, don't it? I've lost a lot and learned a lot, but I'm still undefeated like Shula. Maybe we can travel the world, and what I can give you is all you can see. Time is money, only difference is I own it. Like a stopwatch, let's stop time and enjoy this moment.